Hey. I don't know why I never say hey when I start my videos. Anyways, tier list time. I was too lazy. I didn't want to put all these pictures together, but I finally did. We're here. Let's do it. It's gonna be a longer video. Yeah, let's just get to it. All right, so we got Rent Free. This is my version of a 10 out of 10. It basically means I'm obsessed with this series. I'll be at the supermarket, I'll be at work, and I'll just be randomly thinking random thoughts about this particular series. This is my version of a 10 out of 10. It's my version of me legitimately being obsessed with, any one of these one light novels. Near perfect is basically, yeah, I'd say like 5% below that. It's basically, you can't necessarily find that many flaws with the series. I just personally, maybe there's a couple nook and crannies here and there that could be filled out to make it better. There's not many complaints from me. I still regard them highly, but I'm just not as obsessed with them as the rent-free category. Fun to read, self-explanatory, right? You pick it up, you read the volume, you get entertained for 3 to 4 hours, but you're not necessarily like better for it. It's just something that you use to kill time. Take it or leave it. This was originally called for enthusiasts only, but I didn't want to keep saying the word enthusiast. So I just called it Take It or Leave It, but the premise is the same. This is, maybe you like this particular genre or aesthetic or story or author, but if you do, I would recommend it. But if you don't, then I would say you're better off without it. Boring. To me, boring is worse than bad. This is something that I live by, right? Especially when it comes to light novels, because light novels already have a kind of limited, I wouldn't say they're limited, but you don't have the visual aspect and you don't have the audio aspect. So you got to be locked in on specifically just reading. So it's a bit even bigger sin if what you're reading is boring as sin, right? So to me, an interesting story, even if it's full of plot holes, even if it's bad, even if it's cheesy, is going to be above a series that is just boring. And haven't read enough, it's just there's going to be some volumes here there's going to be some series here that are super long that I don't feel very properly kind of judging when I maybe only read a little tiny fraction of it, especially if I know there's other stuff to come in the future. Talking of, here we have a certain magical index that's going to go on haven't read enough, right? What an underwhelming start to this tier list. But yeah, I don't know. Index, this protagonist, he has a hand that can nullify everything. He lives in a city filled with science, and there's people that are infiltrating that have magic, and it's a magic versus science war, and he gets the brunt of it because he has a hand that can nullify everything. It's a pretty cool series. It's just humongous. I don't feel comfortable ranking it. I feel like even if I read all of the first part, because it has the first part, it has New Testament, and it has the last part I don't even know the name of. I feel like even if I read the first part, I wouldn't feel comfortable ranking this because it's such a long, sprawling series. If I were to, it would probably be on the fun to read at the moment. I read maybe like 7-8 volumes of it. But I have a feeling that if I keep going, it could climb up to near perfect and maybe even rent free, because I do love long, sprawling series with lots of characters, and I know Index is one of those. I just haven't read enough of it. Isekai Smartphone. In another world with my smartphone is gonna go straight on fun to read. Surprising, I know people hate Isekai. They think all Isekai is trash. I love Isekai, as you're gonna come to find out from this tier list. An Isekai Smartphone, it's a low level entry, granted very, very low level entry, but it's a low level entry light novel. It's fun, it's breezy, you have a good time with it. The protagonist is fairly likable. His cheat power is dumb, but on a novel basis, you pick one up, you read it, you forget about it for 3 months, then you remember and you pick another one up. That's the kind of dynamic relationship I have with Isekai Smartphone. Overlord. Actually, today, while I was thinking about making this tier list, I decided that Overlord's going to go on rent free. Yep, Overlord's going to go on rent free. And the reason for that is, I'll be honest, like the first, I'd say volume 1 through 6, to me, when I was initially reading it a long time ago, I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling. This kind of just feels like a normal fantasy, albeit with very cool aesthetics and a very robust world, but it feels like kind of a normal fantasy. And then you get to volume 7. And volume 7, the author goes out of his way to make you decide how you feel about Ainz. Because up until then, you can kind of feel it's a coin toss how you feel about Ainz. You could feel like he's kind of a coward. You could feel bad for him. You could feel some empathy for him. You could be frustrated with him. You could kind of be like, okay, that was kind of scummy. I don't know why you did that. Like you could feel all types of ways. But once Volume 7 comes, Tomb of Nazarick or whatever, something happens and you're forced to make a decision. Do you like Ainz? And even if you don't like Ainz, if you keep reading, the series still rewards you. It just changes the context of the story from here onwards, right? So that to me, like that Volume 7 recontextualized everything before it, and it also kind of fed into what came after it. And once I passed Volume 7, I was like, oh, this is what the author is doing. This is what he's doing. Without any spoilers, the way I'll describe it is Overlord is about an isekai protagonist that rejects the fantasy world he gets sent to. Usually the premise in isekai is you get sent to another world, you embrace it, you grow as a person. But what happens when you reject it? That's what Overlord's about. I'm the evil lord of an intergalactic empire. Oh, and also, sorry, Overlord is going to finish at like 18 volumes, I think. Something like that. That's what the author has said, but we never know. He could end up designing to write more. Besides, Volume 17 is taking like 2 years to write. Isekai Smartphone is above 20 volumes ongoing, and of course, Index is like at 60 volumes now or something. So yeah, I'm the evil lord of an intergalactic empire. I'm gonna put on Take It or Leave It. This is the same author as Otome Mob, or the world of Otome games is tough for mobs or whatever. This guy is just very good at one thing, and that's writing very scummy villains. And this is one of those. The protagonist tries to be a bad guy, but he ends up being a good guy. It's one of those kind of like Eminence in Shadow and stuff like that. It's fun. It's serviceable. It's just that's what the author is good at writing scummy villains and then getting them beat up. And I think Otome Mob does a bit of a better job at doing that. But they're both kind of interchangeable with each other. Tear Moon Empire, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on near perfect. Mia is probably one of the most likable protagonists out there, honestly. Tear Moon Empire is about a girl gets the guillotine. She gets returned by death. Basically, she rewinds time to before she gets the guillotine, and now she has to figure out a way to not get the guillotine. But she's dumb as bricks. She's incredibly dumb. But guess what? It doesn't matter because she's just going to fail upwards, basically. She keeps messing up, sure. She keeps getting herself into ridiculous situations, but people just keep assuming that she's a genius and she's a master strategist. And so they keep going along with all her dumb requests and ideas and strategies. And it all just works out in the end. This is just one that you read for the protagonist. Mia is so likable. I'd put her in the same tier as Mao Mao from the Apothecary Diaries. It's just like, the term I coined, my termed coin, weird girls go beast mode. That's what Tear Moon Empire is as well. Gone Girl Online, gonna go ahead and put this on fun to read. So Gone Girl Online is the spin-off of the Gone Girl Online arc in Sword Art Online. And this is by the Kino's Journey author and also by the Kino's Journey artist. This is just an excuse for the Kino's Journey author to write gunfights. This is all it is. It's just gunfights with cute girls. It's shootouts with cute girls. That is all this is. If you were somebody who likes watching esports and who maybe was watching like the Halo Reach MLG clips back in the day or something, and you maybe like, I don't know, watching PUBG streamers or something, then Gone Girl Online is for you. I personally love it, but it's just such a specific niche, and there's not really that much substance to it. Legitimately, the author just wanted to write gunfights, and he does it pretty damn well. These are some pretty damn good gunfights, but they are just gunfights. It is completed at 12 volumes, I believe, or maybe 13. So if you want to venture in, I don't think you're going to have a bad time at all. I think you're going to have a pretty good time reading this. How Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom, going to put in fun to read. This is one of the first of like maybe 3 that I have in here of like kingdom building isekai, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. Guy gets teleported into another world and he wants to build a kingdom. The thing with this one is, so this guy gets transported to another world and he's like, okay, I'm going to rebuild this kingdom with Machiavellian strategies. It's insane. Dude loves Machiavelli. And you read this and sure, from the perspective of the light novel, he's presented as a good, earnest guy. But if you just kind of like take it from outside the perspective of light novel, he's kind of a psychopath. He kind of starts killing people and going on wars and just making massive reforms with like little to no remorse, little to no empathy. It's just what I'll say is that it does all the like, okay, Machiavelli, okay, kingdom building strategy, politics, policies, right? But it kind of doesn't include the context or nuance for any of it. So this dude just does a bunch of stuff. It all works out. He doesn't really show that much of emotion per thing that he's doing. He shows a little bit of regret once he starts a war, but that regret is gone past volume 1 or 2, right? So he comes across as a bit of a psychopath. But it's fun to read because it's so over the top and things just work out in his favor so much that you're like, sure, why not? Yeah, get another wife, buddy. Get another wife. Sure. The Saga of Tanya the Evil, I'm going to put in rent-free as well. This is just, I know the author hasn't specifically said it, but I think it's an anti-war novel, and I think it's one of the best. I think it showcases the tediousness, the pointlessness, and how boring war is and how unfair it is for literally everybody besides the policymakers. It's about a dude that dies, and he's kind of a scummy guy, so he gets put in the body of a little girl and he gets sent to war. It's tedious, lots of military strategy. Tanya complains incessantly. You feel like you were at war after you finish one of these volumes, but at least for me, I do actually feel rewarded afterwards as well. There's a nice little neat balance of like, you laugh at some of Tanya's pain, and then at some of Tanya's other pain, you are legitimately like, oh, we're cooked. We're all cooked. It's over. It's over for Tanya. Oh, Tanya, run. Duck and run. Duck and run, girl. It's over for you. So it has a nice balance of those two as well. But yeah, this is just a series. This is, I would actually say that this light novel is responsible for me starting to like pick up the pace, because this wasn't the light novel that got me into light novels. But after reading Tanya, I was like, oh man, this is so cool. I want to keep reading light novels. And it kind of motivated me to start binge reading them and stuff like that. Lazy Dungeon Master, I'm going to put in take it or leave it. No, you know what? I'll put it in fun to read, but with a huge caveat. And that caveat is that there's a lot of kind of gross early 2000s anime fetishes in this, despite it being a pretty recent isekai, basically. So for one, the protagonist has a foot fetish. That's not the worst thing ever, right? If you got a foot fetish, you do you. But he's scummier, I'd say, that even Kazuma from Konosuba. Like, he's just not a very likable guy at all. A lot of stuff happens where you're like, I guess that gets somebody's rocks off. That being said, the reason it's in fun to read is because the system, this is part of one of those series that I like to call isekai that I wish were just video games, basically. Because Lazy Dungeon Master is about a dungeon builder. The guy gets reincarnated, he gets put in charge of a dungeon, and the way to grow his dungeon is by killing adventurers and scamming them and stealing their loot. And so he has to set up traps and, you know, come up with different types of systems and game modes and put monsters in certain spawn points and all this stuff. And it's described in vivid detail, and it is pretty fun once it gets into that. It's just the other aspect of it, which is him being pretty scummy, right? It's a bit of a weird balance. It does get better later on. He becomes a more adjustable person as the series goes on, but it's pretty abrasive from the start. So just a caveat, word of warning, it's a little too fetishistic at the start, and then it just kind of rolls off a little easier. Late Start Tamers, and it is completed. I believe it's like 12 volumes completed. A Late Start Tamer's laid back life, boring. It's exactly what the title says. This is another one of the I wish this was a real video game, except I could just go play a video game like this. It's not necessarily being innovative about it. It's exactly what the title says. The guy's a farmer. Are his pet monsters cute? Sure, his pet monsters are cute, but there's not much there for me. I kind of just read this because it was on the J-Novel catch-up, and I kind of don't feel any type of desire to keep reading it. Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody. You guys might hate me for this. This is gonna go near perfect. I know, trashy isekai, generic isekai, and by all means, Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody is a pretty generic isekai, but the thing is, I look at things sometimes from the perspective of a writer, and if I was a writer, Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody is probably an isekai I would kind of write, right? It's just pretty straightforward. Pacing is pretty immaculate. You always feel like it's moving forward. The protagonist, despite being a blank slate like you would expect, is still likable, and it feels like he makes his own decisions. The girls that he travels with are all likable as well, very charismatic, very cute. It's there's also not like a romance aspect. It's more of a found family aspect, which is a little more different than other isekais. And more importantly, this guy's power. It's not described to you. You have to pay attention to it. His power is having admin commands. So basically, you know how there's rumors of like, oh, I saw an admin in this one video game the other day because he kind of just teleported randomly and he was level 99999. I know that was an admin, that was a programmer. This is like one of those, but he's not trying to get found out, basically. So the whole series is about him having the ability to kind of wreck anything. But his crutch is that he can't have people finding out because it would ruin his like a peaceful life. He wants a peaceful retirement life. So he has to come up with different intricate ways to make sure people don't find out he's basically an admin that can just like slash input command and get the situation over with. Campfire cooking in another world. I'm going to put this in boring as well. I know there's some campfire cooking fans, and hear me out. I like the manga. But that's the issue. This is a situation where the manga is just better than the light novel. It's just a fact. The light novel is pretty standard, pretty average. The whole thing is supposed to be this dude is cooking food for cute monsters or cool monsters. The issue is you don't get to see them that often. So just go read the manga. The Conqueror from a Dying Kingdom. This is going to get a fun to read from me. This is a military isekai. It takes the military a little more seriously. It's about a guy. He gets reborn into a military family. That's it. That's the isekai. It's a little bit of survivalism, a little bit of like politicking, a little bit of military strategy. It's just a very succinct, very well written. If you just want a dry military fantasy novel to read, just a novel in general, I think Conqueror from a Dying Kingdom is pretty damn good. It's at like 7 volumes right now. I don't know if the 7th is the last one, but from the looks of the cover, it kind of looks like it's a pretty big cliffhanger. I'm at like volume 3 or 4, so can't wait to get to that. And by that, I mean I'm not going to get to it because if it's a cliffhanger, I don't want to read the cliffhanger. The Apothecary Diaries, near perfect. It looks crazy next to Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody. It looks crazy. But yeah, the Apothecary Diaries, near perfect. I love Mao Mao. Again, Weird Girl goes beast mode. She's kind of the progenitor for that. It's about Mao Mao. She used to work at a brothel. She gets kidnapped. She gets put in the Chinese emperor's harem's like back palace or whatever. And she goes around and she solves mysteries. And it's just super succinct. It's super well written. It's a drama mystery. I would show this. I would recommend this for people that don't even know what light novels are. If you stripped the anime girl from the cover, people would still read this. It's just that good. It's that solid. It's just fantastic writing. It's a fantastic just mystery series. That's all. Mystery drama series. The reason it's not in rent-free, even though I love Mao Mao and Mao Mao is rent-free in my head, is because I don't like Jinshi. I don't like him. I know heresy, right? Kind of crazy that I don't like Jinshi, but I don't like Jinshi. I don't. I never thought he was compatible for Mao Mao. I know I'm sounding crazy and the Apothecary Diary fans want to kill me with rocks right now, but I just never found him to be a good match. I just always thought she's too good for him. Mao Mao is too good for this dude. I just always thought that. Like, she's just too good for this dude. She's too good for this dude. And the issue is the series is like, yeah, they're not going to get together. Don't worry. Oh, yeah, they're not going to get together. Don't worry. And then you're like, oh. As you keep going, you're like, they're going to get together, aren't they? They're going to get together. So I just, I don't know. I wasn't sold on the relationship between Mao Mao and Jinshi. So, yeah, sue me. Classroom of the Elite. They're a little split up, but we're going to do Classroom of the Elite 1 first. It's fun to read. All right, but just wait. Don't get your panties in a bunch yet. So the reason the first year 1 is fun to read is it has its flaws. One, it is fun. It is kind of just a fun, wacky, oh, these are all high schoolers, but they all are like backstabbers, basically. They're all traitors. It's like playing Mafia like in a whole high school. But the issue is, Ayano Koji, his whole thing is that he's supposed to act nonchalant. He's supposed to act like he's a regular student. And he does his job too well. Like the first, I'd say over the first half of the year 1, he's a little too boring for my liking. And he'll do stuff that's interesting, but then he'll just be boring for a good chunk of each volume. And then he does something that's interesting again, and then he'll be boring for another good chunk of the volume. And it's only later on in year 1 that he gets a little more interesting. So yeah, year 1 is fun to read, but year 2, is near perfect because the author learns how to write a Yanokoji in year two. Sure, he's still pretending to be boring, but the author actually gives us good nuggets of information that actually have us wonder, okay, what's he up to now? Oh, he did, Yanokoji did that. Why did he do that? Okay, okay, cool. So the author learns to give us a carrot on the stick, whereas honestly, year one, in my opinion, felt more like you got the stick for the most part, and then at the end you get the carrot. Year two feels like it's actually a good balance of carrot and the stick, and carrot and the stick, and carrot and the stick. Moreover, Ayano Koji has friends now, and he has a relationship, and he has comrades, and you don't know who he's gonna screw over, because that's the whole thing. Ayano Koji, you don't know exactly what he's thinking. I feel like that aspect of it, that angle, gets pulled off better in year two than in year one. Danmachi, near perfect. Or sorry, rent free. The best action light novel you're going to find ever. I don't think there's another one. Legitimately, Danmachi's just super detailed, vividly described. The balance of emotion and hot-blooded action and the blend of it is just immaculate. It's literally, we're going to get to know each other through our fists. That's all this is. Bell just gets to know himself through his fists 24/7. Each volume, incrementally, the rewards are bigger, the spoils are bigger, the glory's bigger, but the downfall can also be bigger. This is a light novel that I would probably put above certain action manga. Might be blasphemy. I might put this above like Fire Force and Sakamoto Days, which I really love as action manga. I might actually read Danmachi over those two, just because the emotional weight added to the fights is that much more impactful, in my opinion. So Apocalypse Springer Minogura, I'm going to put in fun to read. Here's the thing with Minogura. Minogura is about this kid. He gets reincarnated into like a strategy game that he loves, and he chooses to be the evil faction in the strategy game. So it's, for the most part, the first two volumes are kind of just an overlord clone. It has its differences, but the way in which the protagonist acts and his allies and all that stuff feels very much like an overlord clone. Here's the thing. Volume 3, something happens, and all it makes you say is, why didn't this happen sooner? This is insane. So, spoilers. I'm going to scroll down once I'm done with the spoilers. So if you want to skip until I'm scrolling down, you can go ahead and do that if you want to read an Overlord clone. But if not, I don't think the spoilers will like prevent you from reading it. I think the spoilers will maybe motivate you to get through those first two volumes. So in volume 3, it's revealed that yes, his world that he got reincarnated into is a strategy game. But there's other reincarnations who have different mediums. So there's a girl whose like in existence, her whole power is tabletop RPGs. So if she rolls a 20, it's over for everybody. There's an isekai protagonist, literally an isekai protagonist. He's accompanied by a slave girl whose name, like text in the page, just appears as slave girl. Like, and then there's an eroge succubus as well, who is just super powerful because eroge logic applies to her. So like the conventional ways of defeating her don't matter. So it's like this strategy game guy has to figure out how to break these other mediums in order to win. And that's when it gets really interesting. I just don't get why we gotta read 2 volumes of generic Overlord stuff first to get there. I don't get it, because that's a way more interesting concept. So I would recommend you get to those 2. You get through those 2, and then you get to the third one, and then you decide if you want to keep reading. But if it did this quicker, it would be a near perfect. But since it takes 2 volumes, it's just like, okay, all right, sure, right? So that's fun to read. All right, welcome back, you person that skipped the spoilers, coward. I'm just kidding. So the Death Daughters and the Ebony Blade or whatever, this is going to go on Take It or Leave It. Basically, this is just generic, super powerful girl that's also edgy thing. It has a little bit of military stuff, but not enough really to stand out in my mind. I legitimately don't remember much of what the series did. Eminence in Shadow is going to go in fun to read. Eminence in Shadow has this issue, right? People might hate me for this, but Eminence in Shadow has this issue where the whole gag, the joke is supposed to be, there's really serious stuff is happening, and then Sid isn't taking it seriously at all. That's supposed to be the gag, and you're supposed to laugh at that. The issue is, the serious stuff that happens is actually compelling. So the issue is that the author is too good. He's too good at writing dramatic stuff. He's too good at writing this like dark, edgy setting. So you're reading the dark, edgy stuff and you're like, oh my God, oh, that's awful. And then Sid's just like stomping over it by being silly and being a chunibyo. And you're like, oh, hi, Sid. Well, Sid, you're kind of killing the vibe, Sid. So I do love Sid just in general. I love it. The fight scenes are great and the comedy's great. And like I said, the dramatic aspect is great. It's just that it's that bit of like friction between I want to take this stuff seriously, but I know the author doesn't want me to take it seriously. And it's just that juxtaposition that keeps me from enjoying Eminence in Shadow more. But it is a very solid comedy / action series. Black Budeto. I'm gonna put in haven't read enough. I think I only read like 2 volumes to this, and it wasn't really enough to even stick in my head. It was fine. It was from that era of like we're just gonna make little girls explode. Like it was this, and it was Suka Suka, and I don't remember which one. But there was for a while in anime, it was just like we're just gonna kill little girls. I don't know if I can. Yeah, okay, actually I might have to cut that. But yeah, it was just like we're just gonna explode lollies for a while. I don't know. Black Summoner, this is going to go and take it or leave it. This is another one similar to, it's a little better because it's action, so you have a little bit to chew on there, but it's similar to the campfire cooking thing where the manga's just better. This is supposed to be an action series. It's about a battle obsessed mage, and it's just nonstop action. Like he's clinically obsessed with fighting. He's obsessed to an insane degree. It kind of makes him feel like he's a complete psycho for wanting to fight all the time, wanting to fight literally everybody that gets in his way. But even that aspect, the manga just does better. It does a better job at showing him as a psycho. So yeah, I don't know. Black Summoner, the manga is pretty solid. You can read the light novel if you want to catch up. If you want to like see what follows after the manga, that's why I read the light novel, just to see where the story goes. But it's not anything particularly incredible. Full Clear in Another World where the goddess with 0 believers. I'm gonna put this in fun to read. Just nice little fun, tight isekai. Again, I'm an isekai enjoyer. I'm an isekai apologist. Is this anything special? No, but I just it's fine. Like the protagonist is likable, the girls are cute, the goddess is cute. The story was engaging enough to keep me reading, at least while I was in the J Novel catch up. I don't know if you want to buy this. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's worth buying, but I had a good time with it. Reincarnated as the gag character. Gonna put in haven't read enough. From what I remember, it's fine. It does this thing where it's like the guy gets reincarnated into the gag character, but then he immediately assimilates into liking the fact that he's a girl. So that's a little interesting for sure. That's like an interesting dynamic to have where he thinks of himself as the girl almost immediately and is more comfortable in that body, kind of like a body dysmorphia thing, but it doesn't really go that in depth into that for it to be legitimately impactful into the story. Other than that, it is just generic, overpowered isekai Yuri type of thing, but it is Yuri still, so. Fushi no Kami, boring. This is Diet Bookworm. That's it. It's 5 volumes. I read like 3 of them, and I don't remember any of it. That's a bad sign. You only got 5 volumes to do something. I can't remember it. That's a bad sign. Diet Bookworm. Would I recommend this? If you can't get enough of the Bookworm style, which is like this guy just goes around and he fixes people's lives, that's it. That's all there is to it. By the Grace of the Gods, gonna put this in fun to read. This is Slime Rancher, the light novel. It's literally just this guy is a slime rancher. He breeds slimes, all sorts of different slimes. He solves problems with slimes. He starts a business with slimes. He fights with slimes. And he's a likable guy. He's a good boy. He probably returns his books to the public library on time, so he's earnest and likable. Der Werewolf, The Annals of Brecht. Yikes, German, gross. Gonna put this in fun to read as well. This is like an isekai that doesn't really feel like an isekai after you get past like volume 1. It's just a fantasy saga about a werewolf commander that unifies an entire nation. Characters are likable enough. It's just generic fantasy. I don't particularly mind generic fantasy, so I had fun reading it. Kuma 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 Bear is about a girl in a fursuit, or more specifically, a bear onesie. And that bear onesie makes her invincible, basically. So she has to wear it everywhere, and people think she's weird for it. And that's it. I wasn't lying when I said isekai is very easy for me. I get pleased with isekai. You give me a cute girl, and an isekai, and I'm all in. I read like 20 volumes of it. No, not 20. I read like 15 volumes of this. So yeah, yeah, it's cute. I like it. So I'm a spider. So what? This would have been near perfect. This would have been near perfect. I'll put it at the top of fun to read. So here's the thing with Spider. So I'm a Spider. So what is about this girl that gets reincarnated into a spider, Kumoko, and Kumoko is super likable. Again, weird girls go beast mode. She's just as likable as Mao Mao and Mia from Tierman Empire. I love Kumoko. I love her specifically. That's the issue, because the first 4 to 5 volumes, even up to volume 7, are focused on Kumoko. I don't find her classmates that get reincarnated with her particularly likable. And the issue is that we keep getting more and more of them. So the more we get her classmates, and the more they get included in later volumes, the more I stopped enjoying the series. By the time I got to volume 15, it is only 15 volumes, so do with that information what you must. By the time I got to volume 15, I was so pissed off at them. I didn't care about them. I was so close to just skipping past their parts because I just care about Kumoko, right? I just cared about Kumoko. Yeah. Ascendance of a Bookworm. Rent-free series. Bookworm is all-encompassing. It's an all-encompassing fantasy epic. The best way to describe it is this girl is a girl that's so autistically in love with books. She starts an industrial, economical, political, and magical revolution over books. That's the best way to put it. She literally just, it's divided into 5 parts. It's like 35 volumes, 36 volumes. It is complete. It's divided into 5 parts, and each part just expands on everything. So part 1 starts like in her small village, and then part 2 expands on that into the city, and then part 3 spoilers expands, and part 4 spoilers expands more, and part 5 spoilers expands even more. And when I mean expand, I mean everything about it. I mean the characters, I mean the intrigue, the drama, the entrepreneurship, the kingdom building aspect, the politics, the history, the magic, the action. It just all expands up on each volume, and by the time of it, it's this long, sprawling epic. It's not for everybody, but for the people that it's for, this is like just the cream of the crop isekai. It rewards attention to detail. It rewards you being legitimately engaged with the characters, with their emotions, with their aspirations, and side tangent or whatever. But I kind of investigated how often the author was putting out a volume. And as far as I can tell, with a couple exceptions, she was releasing a volume every 3 months. These are 400 to 500 page volumes. She was releasing one almost every 3 months. That's insane. That's like the quickest you can write a light novel. The quickest you'll ever find a light novel release is 3 months. So she's a machine, and I admire her. And I aspire to be a writer like her. Like, side tangent, but yeah, it's insane. The Faraway Paladin. Gonna put a near perfect, and the only reason I'm putting a near perfect and not rent free is because the author decided to not keep writing. He kind of stopped at like volume 5. He's talked about writing another volume, but hasn't really. It's just one of those where the guy just kind of got writer's block. But this is the goodest boy in isekai. In my opinion, this is the best redemption arc in isekai. A lot of isekai, Mushoku Tensei and ReZero and stuff, will focus on like why this protagonist wants to be reincarnated, why he wants redemption. My opinion, the Faraway Paladin executes that perfectly in that first volume. I would recommend the first volume to anybody. It's pretty self-contained. If you don't want to read the other 4 volumes, that's fine. But I would recommend that first volume to most people because it's just a perfectly executed story of redemption, of empathy, of a love, of found family, of finding your own self-worth. And the guy is just the goodest Christian boy in isekai. Unironically, he's basically like a Christian. And it's funny. Yeah, he's just a really religious guy. All right, Banished from the Hero's Party is fun to read. Spoilers, but not really spoilers. You should read this if you want the part where the guy gets with the cute girl in the party. This is what this is pretty much from the start. He gets with that one cute girl that you, in most fantasy stories, will wait until volume like 12 and like until the very end for them to get with. He gets with her, and it's just about them living together. Sure, there's drama and intrigue. Sure, he's overpowered or whatever, but it's just like a cute little slice of life thing in this fantasy world where him and his cute wife live together. It's just very, very wholesome. Didn't I say to make my abilities average in the next life? My first Funa work. I think this is the only Funa like work I've read. I'm gonna put it in take it or leave it, honestly. I read a good bit of it. I read like 7-8 volumes of it, but I just it's cute girls doing cute things but an isekai. And if I wanted cute girls doing cute things, I would maybe just go watch K-On!, right? But it is legitimately engaging. It's funny when it needs to be funny. Like Funa's good at comedy, and this is funny when it needs to be funny, but it's also not something I have a fantastic time. Time doesn't fly when I'm reading it. Goblin Slayer, near perfect. Surprising maybe for some, but I do have a video on it. But basically, I was surprised when I started reading Goblin Slayer just based off of the anime, because I was expecting it to be just a lot of edgy stuff like the anime. Surprisingly, it's not. It's actually Goblin Slayer's for the working class. He's for the blue collar worker. He's for the proletariat. Like the thing that Goblin Slayer really emphasizes that you don't get in the anime, but you get a lot of cool little vignettes here, is that you don't realize that the reason Goblin Slayer is important is because the only people that are affected by goblins are poor, malnutritioned people. So a lot of people will be like, I love Goblin Slayer because I put out a quest for $5 and he came and rescued my sister from the goblins. Even though I only had $5, he still went and rescued my sister. Or I love Goblin Slayer because all the goblins were destroying all our crops and we only had 100 coins to offer, but he came through and he eliminated the whole nest. So it's a lot of that stuff, and it makes him legitimately endearing. I don't know why the anime didn't focus more on that aspect of Goblin Slayer. And it's also just a solid survival series. At the start of every volume, before they go on their adventure, it'll tell you how many knives they have left, how many shields, how many spells, and it counts down throughout the volume. And of course, at the end, they're going to run out, and you're going to see, okay, what is Goblin Slayer going to do now that he's out of all his supplies? What's his solution going to be? He's a problem solver. You know, he solves all the problems. He's a handyman. So that it was just a really pleasant surprise, an all-around really fun series for me personally. This is just my cup of tea. I love stuff like this, especially when, you know, the anime gave me a wrong impression and then I went back and found out that it was a completely different thing. Of course, it's also supposed to be like a TRPG, a play on TRPG. That's why he's Goblin Slayer and the girl's just called Priestess and the Elf Archer is just Elf Archer, etc. And that aspect does come into play in certain angles as well, and it's interesting as well. In another world, using landmines, I'm gonna put in fun to read. Exactly what the title says. Whole classroom gets transported to another world, and all their powers have things that could potentially make them explode from the inside. It's a fun isekai. I know, another fun isekai, but I don't have much else to say. I don't know. Like the thing with isekai is you hear the premise, and that's the thing. That's what the thing is. There's not really much else to it. But no, in all seriousness, the ensemble cast for this is pretty well-rounded and pretty likable. It's like 3 girls, 2 boys, and they all just are pals and buddies. Obviously, the main guy is gonna get with the girl that you expect him to get with, but they just have good chemistry, a lot better chemistry than a lot of other isekai parties have. The Genesis is going on fun to read as well. This is like capitalism maxing. Basically, the premise of this is dungeons open in the real world, and people start going into those dungeons. And our protagonist, by accident, ends up killing like a dungeon boss and gets super powerful very quickly. So while everybody's slowly working their way up into becoming more strong, this dude's just strong from the start. But that's not the thing of the series. Sure, there's dungeon exploration. The thing that surprised me about the series is that it's basically, it teaches you how to launder money. Because the thing is, it's like, yeah, if you came across a fortune, if you came across $1 million or $1 billion out of nowhere, potentially you could get killed or jailed for that money, regardless of how you came across it, even if you came across it from completely normal means. So the series, funnily enough, sure, half of it is dungeon exploration, but the other half is about him and the girl trying to figure out a way to kind of sneakily make transactions so they can get richer and richer and keep their operations going without getting caught by like the Russian Russian spies or like opposing factions, and or the United States of America seizing their assets or whatever. They're just trying to figure out ways to escape all of that. They're not like doing anything illegal, but yeah, they just come across so much power that they have to figure out a way to protect themselves because they are just normal civilians at the start. So that aspect of it is super interesting. I don't think I've ever seen any fantasy anything take that turn of, if you came across $1 billion, like No Country for Old Man style, $1 million, you're going to have to figure out a way to keep that money because you're going to either get killed or jailed for it. The Executioner and Her Way of Life is a Yuri isekai, but with a twist. I'm going to put this in... You know what? I'm going to put it in Haven't Read Enough. I'll be gracious to it. So basically, the whole thing is like there's an isekai infestation. A lot of people are getting reincarnated, and the issue is they got cheat skills. And a lot of times, their cheat skills will blow up and they'll end up destroying whole cities. So these executioners, they're hired specifically to kill these reincarnations and their cheat skills. But this girl's gay. She's way too gay. And so this cute girl comes along and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm crushing on her. And she lets her live. And they go on the run. And is it worth them going on the run? You got to keep reading to find out. I personally, unfortunately, haven't read past like volume 2. I expect it to get a lot better. But the premise in and of itself, I think is interesting enough for you to give it a try if the premise does interest you. I think it executes the premise well enough. The Broke Adventure of the Strange Adventures of a Broke Mercenary is a fun read. There's a body cop duo. It's basically the brownie musclehead that would usually get recruited into a hero party, except he gets extorted and blackmailed by a demon priestess that wants him to help her find her limbs that were scattered across the lands. This is just one of those series where the two protagonists have fantastic chemistry. Their banter is immaculate. They're super funny together. You just have a breeze watching them interact with each other and bicker with each other. That's all this is in a fantasy setting with an adult protagonist, with a himbo protagonist. You don't get a lot of those in light novels. This is one of those. Oregairu. I'm going to go ahead and put it in fun to read. I know I recommended it highly in my light novels to read if you're not into books thing, but that's for people that aren't into light novels yet, right? Bottom tier Tomozaki wipes the floor with Oregairu. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, Oregairu, of course, a progenitor of like romance stories, Hachiman, the cool loner, the patient zero for the cool loner. If you just talk to the cool loner, you would find out how cool he is, etc., etc. It's fun. It's a solid series. It's a solid romance series. Dungeon Busters. I'm gonna put this on Take It or Leave It. So this is the exact same premise as D-Genesis, but it's a little more wacky. It's a little more anime. It's not D-Genesis is it's a procedural. Basically, it's very specific about the things they're doing. Dungeon Busters more willy-nilly about it, but it is basically the exact same premise. A dungeon spawn in Japan. What are we to do? But here's this funny story. So there's a bit in this light novel where the protagonist either hits or cusses out or something a protester, and he basically says the equivalent of like, these damn liberals. And when I read that, I was so psyched out. I was like, what? I was like, why is this dude so mad at protesters? What? And so I did my research. I went on the author's page. I think I went on his Twitter, and he's like a boomer. No, he's not a boomer. He's like a conservative Japanese guy whose only favorite series is Gate. The Japanese Defense Force isekai, where the Japanese military goes into another world. And the protagonist is a Japanese soldier. And I was like, wait, this dude is like conservative Japanese guy writing a isekai light novel, which made it funnier because like the protagonist of this is like this chubby office worker that gets super fit and hot, and all these girls want to fuck him. So it's not bad. It's not a bad series. It's just so funny when you think of the context of this dude being like a conservative boomer Japanese guy. Prison Life is Easy for a Villainess is fun to read. This is, I believe, 2 volumes, and it's just Looney Tunes villainess. She's just Bugs Bunny. That's it. I'm not exaggerating. She is just Bugs Bunny, and Elmer Fudd or whatever is the prince that jails her. That's all I'm gonna say. If that sounds intriguing enough, go read it. It's pretty funny. It's, like with most comedy stuff, it's 50-50. There's going to be some stuff that's funny, some stuff that's not. But she's just Bugs Bunny. Private Tutor to the Duke's Daughter. Is it like 12 volumes or something like that? Fun to read as well. So the premise is it's a guy, he's a private tutor, and a bunch of lollies like him. Now, I know. Lolly's like, grown man, of course, but it doesn't go in any kind of romantic direction. It's just more so, it is definitely presented in the series as like a kid having a crush on a grown guy. He doesn't take them seriously because the series has something that I personally love and haven't seen that much in other series. This has a tsundere in her last stages. Does that make sense? So a lot of tsunderes in romances will start by hating the protagonist, and then towards the end, they're a little, they're a little bratty with the protagonist, but they love them. They show affection to the protagonist, and that's like the ultimate form. This series starts with a tsundere already doing that, and that is basically the protagonist's girlfriend. She's not his girlfriend just because of story purposes, but she's basically his girlfriend, and I love her. She's like a badass. She's a girl boss, and she's like, I'm gonna take my mans when I want him to. Little girls, like you guys are little girls. He's my man. My man. So if you want to read a series with a really cool tsundere that's going, every time she's off screen, you're going to be like, okay, can we go back to the tsundere? Read the private tutor to the Duke's daughter. ReZero, I'm going to put in haven't read enough. If you've been here long enough, I have beef with Subaru. But that doesn't mean really much. I'm just not caught up with it. I haven't read the later arcs, and I know the later arcs are very important in context of both the story and Subaru as a whole. So I'm definitely not going to speak on it without having seen his further development further along into the series. Loner Life in Another World might surprise you guys. Rent free, I know, surprising. This is an isekai that actively tries to rage bait you. I don't know, have you guys ever been in class and you have a classmate that keeps pinching you in the ribs with like their pencil, and you're like, oh my god, dude, stop doing that. That's annoying. This is what this is. This guy's psychotic. The protagonist is a psycho. He's a psychopath, and you're forced to read his perspective from the first person. I'll give you guys an example. There's light spoilers, but not really spoilers. There's a volume where he falls to the bottom of a dungeon. He falls to floor 100, and he has to work his way up the dungeon because he doesn't have his abilities to just fly up or anything, right? He's kind of pretty weak overall. So he has to climb up each floor of the dungeon. And so you're like, okay, floor 100, floor 99, floor 98, each chapter described, okay, because it's written in a diary format. So it's like day 1. Right? Day 2, day 3, day 4, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, he's 90, floor 98, floor 95, and you're kind of just waiting for it to start skipping through floors, for it to go from like floor 80 to floor 70 to floor 50 to start skipping so we can get on with the story. That doesn't happen. The whole volume is all 100 floors described. And you're forced to listen to his monologue, which one, he's a completely he's the most unreliable narrator ever, literally. And you don't really notice until you get a different perspective, but he is just completely unreliable. He lies to himself constantly about what's going on. He's delusional, borderline I'm not gonna say he's schizophrenic, because he just isn't. He's he's avoiding the truth on purpose. You find out later, but it doesn't change the fact that he's a psychopath. This is if you were forced to read the mind of an unmedicated person with ADHD, and you were forced to read every single line, every single thing they think. This is what this is. And the reason it's in rent free is just because I don't think anybody can write something like this. It's just that unhinged. It's that insane. And each volume is like 600 pages, 500, 400 pages. Yeah. All right. Reborn to Master the Blade is going to go on Take It or Leave It. This is going to sound weird when I say this. So the whole premise of Reborn to Master the Blade is that the dude, it's this guy, and he's a great swordsman, and then he gets reincarnated into another world. Basically, he's like grandpa, and then he gets reincarnated into a young girl with like her granddaughter or whatever, and she's kind of just accompanying her granddaughter, and so it's supposed to be like hot girl fights. It's just hot girl fights, and it sounds weird when I say this. There's not enough hot girl. I don't know if that makes sense. And it's not like I'm saying, I know it sounds like misogynistic to say that, but all I mean is the only two aspects to the series is that the fact that the protagonist is a hot girl and the fact that she fights. There's nothing else to the series. And the fact that she's a hot girl isn't really that important. It's more so just that she fights, and the fights, unfortunately, are on a level Black Summoner, where it's just kind of like, okay, that was kind of cool. Every now and then there'll be a cool fight, but not all of them are cool. It's a 50-50 chance. All right, reincarnated as the Piggy Duke. This is an otome game villainess with a guy at the front, right? So imagine like an isekai, the piggy dude, right? Like the fat guy that's like, oh, I'm an evil guy in an isekai or a fantasy series. This is what this is. But it's just, it's fun. The protagonist is really likable. Really reminded me of like familiar of Zero no Tsukaima, but with an actually likable protagonist. Like most of these isekai series, it has its hits or misses. There's volumes that you'll be like, okay, get it over with, and then there's volumes where there'll be legitimately emotional and compelling. But it does everything okay enough. Nothing. It never goes too crazy. Reincarnated as a bending machine. I will now enter the dungeon, or whatever it's called. Only 3 volumes for this one. It is already complete. Fun to read. Bending Machine Isekai. Read it. It's 3 volumes. You're not missing anything out by not reading it. It's just fun. It's just fun. It's about a bending machine. Boxo. Bro's name is literally Boxo. There's cute girls. The cute girls fawn over the bending machine. The bending machine hands out diet soda and they throw it at a frog and the frog burps. It's that type of series. It's kind of like cutesy, fun adventure stuff. Gets dark when it needs to. But you know, it's 3 volumes. It's 3 volumes. Endo and Kobayashi Life. Lisa Lots, villainous, blah, 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 blah. It's just Endo and Kobayashi Life. It's like, I think this is like 3 volumes. It is completed as well. Super interesting premise in this. Basically, they're commenting over a villainous story, an otome game villainous story. It's like this guy and this girl in high school. They're commenting over an otome game villainous story, but the otome game villainous can hear them. So it's this weird thing where they're commenting like they're like locutors or whatever. They're like commenters, like in a fighting game. And they're commenting over her own story, but she can hear them. And so she kind of starts taking their advice and stuff. It's a pretty cute, pretty endearing series. Super unique. I've never really seen that. This is the type of stuff. This is like Reborn as the Bending Machine. It's like the type of stuff I love from isekai. Just like the fun premises that actually get executed pretty well and make for a fun read, for a fun writing exercise. Reincarnated as a sword. This is a sword dad. The guy's a sword and he becomes a dad to the cute little girl with cat ears you guys see there in the cover. That's literally it. Dude's a sword dad. He's a sword and he's a dad. There's nothing else to it. Fun action. Pretty hype action. For an isekai, the action is above average for sure, but you read this because you want the sword dad. The Great Cleric. This is writing lessons in isekai. I'd say this is the isekai guidebook. I actually love this series, but I can't necessarily say that it's fantastic. I wouldn't even put it. I know I put Death March to the Parallel Rhapsody up there, guys. I hope you forgive me for that. But this is like 200 pages, super succinct. It's like hook, line, and sinker. You get the premise, you get the meat of it, of the guy doing a bunch of stuff. You get the end and what we're gonna do next volume, and you just get that for like 10 volumes in a row. I don't know if it's still going. Last time I checked, it was like at 12 volumes. I don't know if it's still releasing, but it's just I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time with it. Boogie Pop and Others. Of course, we got to put this in rent free. Of course. I was just checking if it was still recording. Sorry, guys. Boogie Pop and Others. Yeah, I mean, this is the reason I'm making this video. Boogie Pop and Others is the reason I'm making this video. I've talked about it maybe twice now. Ethereal androgynous being is living inside the body of a high school girl, and it goes fight supernatural phenomena that are tied to emotional, societal, and familial problems. Where have I heard that before? It's kind of the progenitor for stuff like the Monogatari series and Bunny Girl Senpai and stuff like that, where it's like supernatural stuff is tied to your emotions. I love it. I don't think it has aged even a little bit. Just a legitimately interesting story that I don't think has been recreated. I wish more of it was translated officially into English. Shout out to Threads from the World Translations. They're working on a couple of the volumes. They're going a little slow, but it doesn't matter. I appreciate their efforts. Shout out Boogie Pop. Infinite Dendrogram is going to go in near perfect. Again, this is in the category of video games I wish existed, except this is actually a really dope video game that I wish really did exist. The best way I would describe this is when you are playing like a first-person shooter game and something really badass happens and you press that record the last 30 seconds button. This is just you spamming the record those last 30 seconds button. This is if the Sword Art Online video game, Aincrad or whatever, was actually compelling. Because Aincrad, you know, Don't hate me, Sword Art Online viewers or readers, but I encourage it's just kind of a MMORPG thing, right? Fantasy Star Online, etc. Infinite Dendrogram is like, actually, okay, if we actually did have a futuristic device that allowed us to enter hyper realistic VR, what could we come up with that would actually be super interactive? And Infinite Dendrogram pulls that off perfectly. Like, the world in and of itself is what makes the series worth reading. And on top of that, you get a bunch of super badass fight scenes. A lot of them. This is like video game fight scenes color. Whenever you were like a kid and you would make your little stickman fight, that's what Infinite Dendrogram is. Though I am an inept villainess. Goes on near perfect as well. Another one of the Weird Girl Ghost Beast Mode series. This is a body swap story in a Chinese boy in a Chinese setting. It's the villainess, the alpha villainess, and the heroine. They get swapped out for each other, and the heroine is such a nice girl that she just fixes the villainess's life for her, and they become besties. They literally just become besties. They're both super likable. Both of their backstories are super compelling. This is just, again, one of those series you read because you love the protagonist, just like Tierman Empire, just like the Apothecary Diaries, except you get two of them. So you get double the deal. An Introvert's Hookup Hiccups. This is one of those where the Gyaru falls in love with a boring guy. Take it or leave it. It's just a cute romance, and it's like The Angel Next Door to Me Spoils Me Rotten. It's like your average romance manga where cute stuff happens and you watch it happen, and that's all there is to it. I don't have much to say. Torture Princess, Friend Torturchen. Rent free. How to explain this? This is the progenitor to stuff like Boogie Pop and like Tsuki, in a way, like, I don't want to say like Tsukihime, but yeah, like it's the progenitor to all that like dark, like weird supernatural fantasy stuff from back in the day. This is a more modern version of that. Torture Princess, it's about a guy that gets reincarnated. He can't feel any pain, and of course that means that he's gonna get mutilated over and over again. And Torture Princess, she gets her powers from torturing people. So it is exactly as edgy as it sounds. And the edge is pretty fun. It's pretty over the top. But then it'll also balance super heartfelt, found family stuff on top of it, which sounds really weird, but it works. It works. It's like eating something sweet and then something savory. Sweet, savory. It's exactly that. It's kind of when you eat something really spicy and then you put a little dapping of ice cream on your tongue. It's exactly like that. It works. I don't know what to say. It works. It also has this really interesting art structure where it's 9 volumes, and that's because every 3 volumes something will happen that will basically shift their reality of the world our characters inhabit as a whole, and they got to figure out a way to live with this like new reality that has formed. Basically, that's all I can say without giving away spoilers. Hell Mode is gonna go in near perfect again. Damn, we're going on with the bangers, with the near perfect bangers. But Hell Mode is the most intricate, most complicated, and funnest to follow along isekai power system I've ever seen. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's Hell Mode. It's about this guy. He's a real hardcore gamer, and he gets this invitation to join a Hell mode of a video game he likes. He presses yes. He gets reincarnated into another world in Hell Mode, where basically his XP, the more he levels up, the more the amount of XP he needs doubles and triples and quadruples. There's a bunch of restrictions put on him. It's basically when you're playing Dark Souls and you're playing as like the Wraith or whatever, and you're only using the club and you're not equipping any armor. That's basically what that is. This is that, but the light novel. On top of that, the guy collects Pokemon cards, and each Pokemon card has a very intricate rule system that he has to follow and kind of interconnect. And by really intricate and specific, I mean like this fish gives you 2 SP. It's just like that specific. Or like this fish gives you 2 SP, but upon putting a pound, it actually gives you 4 SP, blah, 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 blah. So if you don't enjoy following rule systems and watching them click together, you won't like this. But for somebody like me who does like it, again, right, a sentence of a bookworm's up there. For somebody who likes intricate systems and interconnectivity, Hell Mode, from like a game system angle, perfect for that. Mid-maxing my TRPG build in another world is a fun read. It's fun. This one's weird because the story is fairly straightforward, but the premise is what makes it interesting, because it's a tabletop RPG, and it's written as if it was like the GM recounting this story of like a TRPG session he had. and it's written in that way. And I don't know, I've read a lot of isekai, there's not really many of them written in this. Goblin Slayer is kind of written in this. This goes all the way. I wouldn't say that it's perfect, but if you enjoy tabletop RPGs, if you enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, this is, and you want to read like a game master's fan fiction with like cute monster girls and pretty cool art, and actually honestly cool fight scenes, the fight scenes are well written, then yeah, this is for you. Bottom tier character Tomosaki. Rent free. Revolutionized the romance genre, in my opinion. Because like I said, Oregairu kind of started this trend of, oh, actually the loner guy is cool. And if you guys bothered talking to him, you would know that he's actually really cool. But bottom tier character Tomosaki is, no, the loner's alone because he thinks he's cool. If he was actually humble and he cared about people, then he would have friends. People would be willing to talk to him. And that twist is then indirectly responsible for stuff that came later, like too many losing heroines and she doesn't there ramen bottle. This flipped the script on the type of narrative we were going with in romance of, oh, the loner is just so charismatic, it's just people don't give him a second chance. It flipped the script on that. And I will always love it for it. Not to mention, the drama in this series is immaculate. Teenage angst to the max. I'm never going to turn down a teenage angst romance light novel. Bakemonogatari, or really more so Monogatari Season 1. I'm going to put a near perfect, of course, cult classic, amazing series. If you haven't read Monogatari, or maybe even watch, I'll be honest, I've only read the first season of Monogatari, but I've watched all of it, including Monster Season. I'm fully caught up with Monogatari, with the movies. I love Monogatari. I love the anime. I love the light novels from what I've read of the light novels. This is just, it's like a cultural touch. It's a cultural touch point for anime is what I'll say. So if you just value anime just in general, give it a try. If you don't like it, that's fine. But this is just something where you should venture into it just to see this weird kind of spot Monogatari and Nisio Eizin as a whole carved for himself in anime culture. J.K. Haru is a sex worker in another world is a fun read. J.K. Haru runs into this issue where the premise is that this girl becomes a sex worker in another world. But there's an issue there, because is she a sex worker? Are her scenes of her having like sex and stuff going to be used for fan service, or are they going to be used to comment on either like the empowerment of her sexuality or the misogyny of having to sell herself for money in this other world, because she's basically forced into it? And it's more so the fan service. It's for them, the majority of these sex scenes are more so fan service. There'll be some depictions of sexual abuse, but they come across more so as just it being kind of edgy and showing you, people treat sex workers poorly, which big surprise, right? Like, we didn't know that. Of course, we know that sex workers get treated poorly all the time. But it's just doesn't really execute on the nuances of the premise well. But the story in and of itself, and Haru herself, super likable. She is a very likable protagonist. I had a blast reading this. I binged it in one day. It's just, I wish there was a little more nuance to the premise itself. Let This Grieving, and it is just one volume, so even if it sounds like you're iffy, maybe give it a try. Let This Grieving Souls Retire. I'm gonna go ahead and put in fun to read. This is like reverse Eminence in Shadow, where the guy is trying to act cool, but he's a coward. Instead of him trying to act cool because he's a Chunibyo, he's acting cool, but he's actually a coward. This is fantasy. I don't believe it's an isekai. I think it's just straight up fantasy. It's one of those like dungeon faction things where everybody has different factions and they're venturing into dungeons and fighting monsters, and it's more so about the characters revolving around the world and not so much the setting itself, I guess, or the storyline itself. It's pretty, it kind of meanders, but it's funny overall. The Disciple of the Lich, I'm gonna put in take it or leave it. The Lich in The Disciple of the Lich is very likable. She's basically a yandere, an obsessed yandere, but everybody else is kind of It's kind of doing a Konosuba. It's doing an isekai is funny thing. It's doing the thing where it's like, oh, the guy's so overwhelmingly overpowered that people's jaws are just on the floor. Like One Piece style, the jaws just fall straight to the floor. But it just is not that funny. The Magical Revolution of the Reincarnated Princess, Yuri to the max. I love it. It's a fun, great time. It's exactly what it says, that it's the magical revolution of the reincarnated princess, and she's in love with a woman. We love it. Beautiful, beautiful lesbians. We love it, folks. Beautiful lesbians. Overpowered over someone and over it. God, I hated this. This goes in boring, but I would make a different tier list for this. This is so dumb. Basically, this whole thing is like, it sets it up to be like, oh, this guy, he's going to be evil or whatever, obviously, as you can tell from the cover, but the way in which he goes about it is so insufferable. He gets reincarnated with a bunch of other classmates, and then at the end he just decides to kill a bunch of people, just massacre people, not really any reason whatsoever for it. They weren't gonna sell him to anybody. He just decides to kill a bunch of people, and then he's just like, yeah, I kill people. What about it? It's just that. It's, oh god. It's the Joker smoking a cigarette PNG of light novels. It's so smug and Redditor coded. I hated it. My instant death abilities is so overpowered. Nobody in this other world stands a chance. Fun read. Simply put, read this if you want to watch isekai tropes drop dead, because the whole premise is this dude is an eldritch monstrosity. Basically, whoever tries to attack him, he can instantly kill. He can feel their intention to kill, and he can just instantly kill them as well. And it's just like 12 volumes of that building on itself. It gets a little exhausting, but it is fun. You'll have your fun, but then towards the end of each volume, you'll be like, okay, that's enough. So I do think the premise is well executed. I don't think there's really anything wrong with it. It's just a little bit too much of it. My daughter left the nest and returned an S rank adventurer. This is gonna go in near perfect. I love this series. This is one of the few isekai dads that actually feels like a dad and not like a stunted isekai teenager. This is if you took your typical fantasy hero and you grew him up to be like 40 or 50 years old with a daughter. His aspirations are very realistic. His worries for his daughter, the way he has to adapt because his muscles aren't keeping up. It also does this really cool thing where the daughter is an S-rank adventurer, so her side is always filled with action, but he's an older, more, chill dude, so his side is always filled with slice of life, and then when they come together, it mixes it to a bit of action and a bit of slice of life. This is just a unique premise that I haven't seen anywhere else, and I don't think I'll ever see anywhere else. This is why I love light novels, because it's such a weird mix of like anime tropes with fantasy tropes with the author's own interests. If you want to read a grown man in a light novel, a grown man with chest on his hair, go read My Daughter Left the Nest and Return an S-Rank Adventurer. It is complete. I don't remember, is it like 12 or 14 volumes? Something like that, but it's complete. Survival in another world with my mistress, boring. This is the Minecraft isekai where the guy has Minecraft powers, and it doesn't flesh that out at all. It doesn't flesh out the fact that he has Minecraft powers whatsoever. The Saint's magic power is omnipotent. Boring. I almost always don't like the male protagonists in these kind of female-centered isekai stories. I like the male protagonist more here. That's how boring the protagonist was. Lock Horizon, fun to read. Now, I know it sounds crazy. I prefer the anime. I don't know. I don't think the light novel is that crazy. I don't think it's that well written. I think the visual execution in the anime makes it, for me at least, a little more compelling, a little more fun. The anime is one of my favorite anime ever. It's like a nice, cozy. It's well paced. You feel like things are always going on. But yeah, I don't know. The light novel was just kind of A fun fact: this guy went to jail for not paying his taxes. The Lock Horizon guy. He went to jail for not paying his taxes. Just fun fact. Reign of the Seven Spellblades. Gonna go on rent free. This is like if Harry Potter was good. No, I'm kidding. Harry Potter is fine, but this is just violence ricochets, if that makes sense. So a character hits and he gets hit back twice as hard. Basically, actions have consequences, but the consequences seem way more tragic when these pure, sweet-hearted teenagers don't have any option but to do the action. That's what this is. They don't have an option. They don't know any better. They got to do the awful thing, and then they get hit back twice as hard for doing the awful thing. This is one of those series where it's dark and it has a lot of edgy elements. It has sexual abuse, and it talks about classism and misogyny and the caste system and in terms of magic, and it comments on like sexual relationships, but it has nuance to all of it. It's not just all there to be edgy. It's not all there to be dark. All of it is commented on, and it's commented on with empathy. And the fight scenes are immaculate. The fight scenes in this are on the level of Danmachi. If you haven't read Reign of the Seven Spellblades, catch up. This is one of the best fantasy series out right now. Silent Witch. I'm gonna put this one in near perfect as well. Again, weird girl goes beast mode. The way I would describe Silent Witch is this is an otome game setting, but an overpowered female protagonist gets put in place of like the typical villainess or heroine or whatever. Like nothing can really affect her. Her only issue is she has crippling social anxiety. And so even though she's an all-powerful mage, she has to figure out ways to do things her own way because she has crippling social anxiety. That's kind of the premise. She's super likable. She's a cute little squirrel girl, very autistic. That's enough said. The Misfit of Demon King Academy. This is a fun read. This is one of those where the guy's just so cocky that you have fun with the fact that he's just that cocky. I would compare him, I don't know, would Gojo be a good example, or like a Sakamoto from Haven't You Heard Him, Sakamoto, where he's just like so flawless that it's to like a ridiculously likable degree. Like he knows he's super strong, he knows he's overpowered, he knows he's good looking, and he just uses his powers for good, and he's a chill guy. He'd probably buy me a burger. I don't know why he would. Actually, no, you know what? I trust him. I think he would. I think if I told him, hey, can you buy me a burger, he would buy me a burger. He seems like the type of guy. Yeah, this is just one of those series where the guy's so cocky and so overpowered, he becomes likable. But in terms of the premise, it's just One Punch Man, but in a fantasy setting. That's it. This Adventures of a Space Mercenary. Take it or leave it. If you just want isekai in a sci-fi setting instead of a fantasy setting, read this. That's all I got to say about it. The Genius Prince's Guide to Getting a Nation Out of Debt is near perfect. This is probably the best kingdom building isekai, light novel you're going to find in general. This isn't an isekai. That's important to note. This is just a regular kingdom building light novel. But the issue that I said, however, this hero Rebuild the Kingdom has, which is that it's missing a lot of the nuance and a lot of the context, this has it. This has the protagonist struggling with the choices he has to make. It explains to you the politicking and the military stuff and the geopolitics of it all. And it also comments on the slave trade. It comments on colonialism, on imperialism. It comments on all that stuff, and it packages it all together into these nice little volumes that always end in cliffhangers and have good suspenseful moments, have good action, have good romance with like a protagonist and a romantic interest that actually have really good chemistry together. It just does a lot of the things how Rebuild the Kingdom tries to do better, in my humble opinion. The Unwanted Undead Adventurer, boring. The only reason I read this is because the scientist girl that is the love interest for him is really hot. She's really hot. But just go read Overlord. Go read the Skeleton Soldier one or whatever. There's better skeleton people out there in light novels. Sasaki and Peeps. I'm going to put in fun to read because of the premise, which is basically a crossover. There's like a magical girl, and there's a yandere, and then there's like espers, and there's an isekai. So it's supposed to be like all the modern versions of light novels or whatever mixed together, and this guy's in the middle of it, and he happens to be a normal salaryman. Sure, that aspect of it is interesting. The only issue is he's just weird. He's really weird. I don't like him. He gives me the creeps because the whole thing is he's supposed to be written as like a very straightforward, very boring salaryman. But it's commented on to like a ridiculous extent to where he almost feels like a skin crawler. And for some reason, the yandere girl is obsessed with him, and there's scenes of her like masturbating to him. It felt a little unnecessary. I mean, if you were interested in the premise, read it. But I don't think, like, it also just doesn't execute on the premise that well. It's very clear the author just wanted to write an isekai once you read it. Villainous Level 99 is a very fun villainous story, probably the funniest out of all the villainous stories you're going to see. It's just about a very dense, very dense girl. Has some good comedy to it. I don't really have much else to say about it. If you want an otome game villainous story with a focus on comedy, go read this. My Quiet Blacksmith Life is fun to read, honestly. I don't have much to say. It's exactly what it says. It's exactly what it says. This guy's a blacksmith. He likes forging swords in like a village or whatever. There's a little bit of suspense here and there, sure. A tiny bit of action, sure. A bunch of cute girls, of course. But the guy is a grown man, so that adds a little bit of nuance to it. but I don't know how to explain it. It relaxed me. I would every night I would read like a bit of each volume of this, and I would legitimately decompress and relax. I don't know exactly what about it made it a little more relaxing than, say, Campfire Cooking with Another World, but it's just, this is more my speed, I guess you could say. Flipping the tables or whatever on the Seedmate Killer, take it or leave it. This is just a witty banter romance. If you enjoy your witty banter romance like Oregairu, like Tomosaki, and you just want a little bit more of that, this doesn't do anything special, but it continues with that trend. Irregular at Magic High, have not read enough of it. From what I've read, seems fine, but I've only read like 2 volumes out of like, what is it? Isn't it like almost 40? Yeah, it's a super long running series. I need to read more to be able to comment on it. Monster Girl Doctor, fun to read. Yes, of course, you're going to be reading this for the fan service, for the hot monster girls. Seaton, who is a hentai artist, does the art, so of course. But it also has a surprising amount of really robust world building around monster people and the type of infrastructure they need and the type of culture they have. And that adds to it. You're already there for the fan service. What's a little world building gonna do? Trapped in a dating sim, the world of Otome games is tough for mobs. Take it or leave it. Just like Intergalactic Empire. Like I said, this guy's just really good at writing really scummy villains that get beat up, and this is just that again. It has a little bit more where it's like a romance type of thing, but the main issue is just the guy clearly has not played Otome games. You read this and you're like, these Otome games aren't really like this at all. It would have worked better if it actually tried to make fun of Otome games, but it kind of just uses that as a vehicle to have a reason for our protagonist to be unique, I guess. And I don't know, man. Take it or leave it. It kind of just turns into a fantasy action adventure thing towards the end. Bakano. Near perfect, right? Classic. It's a classic series. The light novel was a classic. The anime is a classic. I'm not going to say anything about this because I think if you don't know about Bakano, you should just go in blind and then find out what it's about for yourself, because finding out what the premise is in and of itself the fun. So just know that it's considered a classic by many. Data Life, haven't read enough. I have a lot of nostalgia for the anime. It's one of the first anime I ever watched, but I haven't read enough of the light novel to comment on it. Mushoku Tensei, near perfect, seminal, touch point, isekai, right? One of the reasons a lot of isekai now are here today, perfectly executed, a redemption story, an action story, a fantasy story, a story about family. For me personally, it's not something I'm obsessed with. It's not something I'm thinking on too much. Similar to ReZero, it's just like I am a little more caught up. I'm caught up with this. I'm not caught up with ReZero, but it's similar to where it's just like I don't connect with Ridius himself that much, and that's more so the issue. But I can't deny that the storyline in and of itself is perfectly executed. It's a great series. I'm in love with the villainess, of course, rent free. The best Yuri isekai, and really the best Yuri out there you're going to find. I'm in love with the villainess does this really unique, heartfelt thing where it's your typical villainess story, except the girl is in love with the villainess. She's the heroine, but she's in love with the villainess. She wants to fall in love with the villainess. But it does this thing that I don't see a lot of really isekai light novels do, because manga does do it a fair bit. There's a lot manga's woke. Manga has gone woke. But light novels don't really comment on actual social topics, and I'm in love with the villainess does. There's a lot of sections where it talks about how tough it is to be queer or to be gay in Japan, because the author is, as far as I know, a lesbian woman living in Japan, and it shows like the struggles of having to live a life being gay, being a lesbian in a conservative society. And of course, there's a parallel there where the society they live in is medieval, and of course Japan is very conservative, and it just comments on it beautifully. It has a lot of empathy for queer people, gay people, etc. For me personally, the romance between the two leads just works perfectly. I love it. This is one of my favorite just light novels in general. It's up there with obviously everything that's up there. The hero laughs again while walking the path of revenge a second time. Fun read, edgy, violent, vengeance isekai. The guy gets screwed over, he goes kill a bunch of awful people. If you want to go see a bunch of awful people get slaughtered, go read this isekai. The ideal spend your life fun. Truth be told, the kingdom building aspect is as solid as the How a Genius Prince got a nation out of debt. It's just as solid as that one. the protagonist is kind of just turns into a Mary Sue, unfortunately. The issue is he's supposed to be a regular guy, and yeah, sure, he has his politics lessons, but he kind of just turns into a politics savant later into the series. So the realism of it, of the kingdom building, kind of gets suspended a little bit there. But the kingdom building aspect, I would say, is as good as Genius Prince. It's just, yeah, I don't mess with the protagonist as much in later volumes. My next life as abilities are Routes Lead to Dome. Fun read. This is I love this series because you get to have your cake and eat it too, because you get both the reverse harem and the Yuri harem. This is what everybody loves her. Everybody loves Bacarina. Of course they do. She's super likable. She has a nice shiny forehead, and she's very quirky and funny. She's a weird girl that goes beast mode. I gotta coin that term. I gotta coin that. I gotta make some crypto with that. With that term. I'm kidding, of course. Young Lady Albert is courting disaster. Sorry, Young Lady Albert, you're going on Take It or Leave It. You're just not. It's Bacarina light. It's diet Bacarina. It's still fun. Yeah, I would even say that in some aspects the comedy for this is funnier, but Bacarina is just has more compelling romantic interests than Lady Albert. My First Little Sister has it in for me. Fun to read. Better witty banter romance than Seedmate Killer. Truthfully, this would go a near perfect if it wasn't for the part that it runs into an issue that a lot of light novel or just romance in general run into, which is the author doesn't manage to explain to us why the protagonist and the main girl aren't together yet. They have so much chemistry, an insane amount of chemistry. They're super witty together. They're super funny together. The drama's good, the storylines are good, their motivations are good. The reason they're not together is good at first, but yeah, like eventually you're just like, just get it over with, just get together, guys. Why are you taking so long to get together? Too Many Losing Heroines goes on near perfect. This could go on rent free in the future, but for now it is going to go on near perfect while I sit on it a little more. A beautifully written series. That's mostly it. Like the drama is just so well written in this. It's on the level of Tomasaki. I just like the premise Tomasaki had. The premise Tomasaki offers is more consistent than the Losing Heroines premise. The Losing Heroines premise, it's kind of doing a half and half. It's kind of doing the thing that it's saying it's commenting on, and it's kind of commenting on the thing that it's commenting on. So it's kind of having its cake and eating it too. Is that a bad thing that it's doing that? No, it's still fantastic series. But I just think Tomasaki's more consistent. The Reincarnation and the Goblin Maiden. I talked about this in my weekly light novel reads about a guy that was so ugly he would get the cops called on him. He gets reincarnated as a handsome guy, and of course he gets engaged to the Goblin Maiden, a girl that's cursed to look like a goblin. It's just a cutesy romance fantasy series with like politics and stuff. The first two volumes are okay, but the third volume is solid, and it is only 3 volumes. So if you want to read through like 2 cutesy volumes and a third solid volume that actually finishes off with some emotion, I did actually feel some degree of emotion towards the end of the 3rd volume, then go ahead and check this out. That Time I Get Reincarnated as a Slime goes on near perfect. Slime is complicated because it does the action incredibly well. It does the kingdom building. For it to not be a kingdom building light novel, it does the kingdom building surprisingly well. The only issue is Rimuru is basically like Goku. Now hear me out. Goku, we love Goku, and we know what Goku's about. But we can also accept that Goku's kind of a little bit scummy. He kind of abandons his kids. He chooses to stay dead. He's kind of a deadbeat. He kind of only cares about fighting and not really anything else. Rimuru is kind of like Goku, where he's not like Goku where he only cares about fighting or anything, but he is a little selfish, and sometimes he'll be a little too selfish for my personal liking. That being said, he's still likable. And the series itself, the fight scenes, the kingdom building, all of it is still, and for me personally, it's my type of fantasy, which is lighthearted, video gamey fantasy. That's the type of fantasy I like, and that's the type of fantasy Slime gives me, and I can count on it to always give me a similar dose of that fantasy. It's consistency, folks. Consistency is what gets you the near perfect spot. Yashido-kun's Guide to Going Solo. I'm going to put this in Take It or Leave It. This is basically, if you can't get enough of Tomasaki, read this, but it's not going to be as good. It's about a guy that loves being by himself, and then these girls approach him, and they're like, teach us how to be by ourselves, and so he does. It is only 2 volumes, so Not a big investment, but it's just, it has an interest. It executes the premise well. The premise is executed well. It's just the protagonist isn't particularly interesting and the girls aren't particularly interesting. The only thing that is particularly interesting is the premise by itself. Saregoto. You guys might be surprised. I'm going to put this in haven't read enough because I haven't finished it. And I think the ending is going to be important for Saregoto. But this is a really, really, really unique, fun mystery series. It is Nisio scene, so expect it to comment on the fact that it's a mystery series incessantly. It gets very meta. If you don't enjoy meta stories, don't read Saregoto. Don't read Bakemonogatari or the Monogatari series. Don't read anything by Nisio Isin. He loves doing references to the thing he's doing currently. But Saregoto itself is just, for me, the most unique mystery light novel out there by a mile. The Ryu's work is never done. I talked about this fairly recently. Gonna put this near perfect. This is just a sports thriller, a sports romance drama thriller with shogi at the center. What a unique premise, right? You wouldn't really expect it, especially when you look at like the first 2 volumes or whatever. And it does use like lollies as a joke. So if that makes you uncomfortable, by all means, don't read this. Perfectly understandable, but it's never used as like he's in love with the little girls or anything. It's nothing weird like that. He has his own romance interest, and she is his age. But yeah, I don't know. The series itself is just a super solid sports drama in light novel form, and I can count those with my fingers. Guess what? It's one. I think this is the only one. There could be others. That I just haven't found about. I'm sure there are others, actually. There's probably other light novels about sports, but this is by far, in my opinion, the best one. The author cares about shogi. More specifically, the author legitimately cares about representing women in shogi. So this is very female-centered, very female-focused, despite the fact that the protagonist is supposed to be like the complete champion. But the whole premise is that he's a complete champion and he's the mentor for this little girl who is definitely going to overtake him. And so it's about him coming to accept that and handling the mantle gracefully to this girl, and this girl taking in the mantle with the adversity of being a woman in the world of shogi, which is male dominated. It's beautiful. I love it. And Sabikui Bisco is our final one. I'm gonna put this in fun to read. If you enjoy Shonen Jump stuff, I'd say something along the lines of like Gachikuta or whatever. This is that. It's just a bunch of wacky fight scenes in a desert punk setting. There's giant mushrooms and there's cookies, and the 2 protagonists are definitely don't want to kiss. For sure they don't want to kiss, and unfortunately they won't kiss. Despite the fact that it's very obvious that they do want to kiss each other, they don't kiss. So that's why it's in fun to read and not near perfect. If they kiss, it'd be near perfect. All right. That's it, guys. Here's the near perfect. Here's the rent free. Fun to read. Take it or leave it. I'm boring. Haven't read enough. That's it. Later.